All right, everyone, how are you doing tonight? It is a beautiful Friday. I didn't get to do a training video today, so I'm coming at you tonight from the comforts of my own home. Want to touch base on something real quick regarding this training video. What I've been seeing happen lately in this crazy market that we have is a lot of our agents who are representing buyers are losing contracts, they're losing deals, right? So you're putting in an offer, you're getting outbid, the whole 9 yards. There's a way around that, okay? We've discussed this before at one of our Tuesday team meetings, office meetings. There's a good way, and it's called using the escalation clause, all right? So some of you agents are a little bit uncomfortable using it. I get it. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but using the right worded terms in your additional comments is going to be one of the biggest factors in ensuring, that your client is getting the deal that they want, is happy with the transaction, is happy with you and your services, most importantly, okay? So again, using this escalation clause, all right? So how would we use an escalation clause? I'll just give an example, okay? So I'm looking for a buyer for a home in Port St. Lucie, which I'm using that just because, every market's hot right now in South Florida, but Port St. Lucie, generally if it hits the MLS, it's too late for that property already, okay? So with that being said, what's going to happen is, excuse me, if you're looking for a house, okay, and that home is $200,000, let's say $200,000, okay? Your buyer and you view the home, or even if your buyer doesn't view the home, say they're from the tri-states, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, one of those areas where we have a lot of buyers coming down to the south to get better properties, get out of the cold weather, get away from everything, and that type of stuff. You may do a showing virtually. You may do a Zoom. You may do whatever it may be, or maybe sight unseen. We had some agents write some sight unseen offers today. So with that being said, what's going to happen is you're going to write into the additional comments an escalation clause, okay? So if I view a home with my client for $200,000, okay? I know in today's market, especially in Port St. Lucie, Martin County, Jupiter, Tequesta, anywhere in this area, it's going to probably go for more than that, okay? I know it's going to go for more than $200,000. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a one-on-one chat with my buyer. This doesn't matter if you know your buyer inside and out. This doesn't matter if you've never met your buyer before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and have that conversation with my buyer. Okay, Mr. Buyer, we know what type of market we're in, okay? So a $200,000 at list price offer is not going to get the job done nowadays. And this is on a general sense, right? There's still some properties out there that are high. They're not getting offers. They've been on market a little bit longer. Sellers think the property is worth more than it is because of this market. So they are sitting certain circumstances, all right? But we're just going off a general basis because 90% of the time, this is what's happening. Agents are losing offers due to being outbid, right? Or they're cash, or they're getting outbid to cash when they're FHA or when they're conventional financing, whatever the case may be. So this is from a general stand, but I'm going to have that conversation with my buyer. I'm going to say, Mr. Buyer, this home is worth $200,000. What are you comfortable paying for this home? Because we both know that, so I don't waste your time, so I don't waste the seller's time, so we don't waste our time together collectively. We know this home's going to go for more than $200,000. So get that list price out of their head, okay? A lot of buyers go in there, and I'm seeing it now with this market that they're still having this mindset of, hey, this house is $200,000. Let's offer 190. Let's offer 195. That's a good offer price. It's not going to get it done, guys. You know that. So have that conversation with them. Tell them it's not going to get it done in that circumstance. If you know it's not going to get it done, you guys have the ability and the rights and the tools to be able to know that that house is going to sell for over what it's asking, right? So have that conversation with them. Mr. Buyer, this house is going to go for more than $200,000. What is your level of interest in this home? If they want this home and they love this home, if they walk in this home and it feels like it's theirs, they want to make it theirs, whether it's for them or their family, whatever the case may be, break down that barrier, right? Because that'll break down that price barrier for them. So we can get over that whole buyer stipulation of, I'm not paying asking price in this market. We got to get them above that, okay, to help you guys win offers and help them get into the homes they want. So your next step is going to be talking to them regarding what they're comfortable paying for the home. What is the home worth to you? Because a home is going to be worth whatever a buyer will pay for it. We'll get to the appraisal aspect in a second, because yes, that comes into play. And it's coming into play in not a fair way lately. But regardless, what is the home worth to that buyer? Hey, Greg, I'm willing to pay $220,000 for this home. Okay. You may have to talk them up. Some buyers have this stipulation in their head where they're not comfortable overpaying. They think it's overpaying. We know this market is dictating overpaying nowadays, right? So don't necessarily think you're going to win with a 202 offer, 205 offer even, okay? It's going to be probably more like a 210 to 220 offer. As crazy as that sounds, we have to adjust with our markets, right? So that's our market nowadays, agents. So get them over that price barrier first is number one, okay? Once we get them over that price barrier and we find out what they're comfortable paying or what they're happy paying, what they feel that that home is worth to them, that's our number. So $220,000 is what my buyer tells me, right? When I write up this offer, I'm going to write it up on page number 1 where all the purchase price and terms are. I'm going to offer whatever our starting offer is, right? So it could be $200,000, it could be $190,000, it could be $170,000, it could be $210,000, whatever that number is. I don't have to go right in at that $220,000 right off the bat, right? Because we don't necessarily want to show all our cards at once. How do we know that seller, even though it's a hot market, maybe he only gets buyers up to 210, right? And we're willing to pay 215, 220 max, but we can get away with paying 210 or 215. We don't want to show our cards and just write a $220,000 off. All right. Some agents think that, hey, I'm just going in with the highest and best. And there are situations where there's a highest and best, but a escalation clause written into a purchase contract is essentially going to be your highest and best. So I'm going to fill out my terms on page 1, whatever offer price you guys agree to. So let's say it's $210,000 in this, or $200,000 in this case. Here's my purchase price for $200,000. Excuse me. I'm going to do all my numbers based on whether they're FHA, whether they're conventional. That'll give me, lines 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 7, 8 for balance to close, financing, all that stuff, right? That's a different topic. Once I have that number on the last page of the contract, on page 11 where the additional comments are, what I'm going to do is that's where I'm going to write in that escalation clause. So I'm going to word it, and this is the verbiage you can use to the T. If you guys want to mess with it, go ahead. Absolutely feel free. Just let us know before you submit it. But there's different ways to word it. This is just my personal way to word it. And one of our agents, Sean, who brought us this escalation clause, that he's been using it. He's winning a lot of offers using this escalation clause. So guys, don't be uncomfortable using this, okay? It's going to get a deal done for you. But on that additional comments page, I'm going to write in, buyer is willing to pay in X amount above the highest and best offer up to $220,000, period. Contingent upon seeing the highest and best offer. Okay. So that's buyer is willing to pay X amount above the highest offer up to $220,000, period. Contingent upon seeing the highest offer. So number 1, the X amount is whatever you determine. You can put in $1,000. You can put in $2,000. I honestly think going higher is better nowadays. And here's the reason why. If I'm an FHA buyer, okay, we know FHAs are a little bit tougher. Sellers aren't really fans of them, right? Because inspection, appraisal issues, et cetera. We're working against a cash offer. That's going to be a tough one right off the bat. We're not going to lie here. It'll be, even if you're $5,000 over, some sellers may just take the convenience of cash, right? So an escalation clause in that case may not help us out, but we know we did whatever we could to get that offer in and executed for our client, okay? Because that's the home they wanted. So if I'm going against a conventional loan that's $5,000 less than me, and I put in buyers willing to pay $5,000 above the highest offer price, that is motivation for the seller to go, hey, I have an FHA, yes, but at the end of the day, I'm still on a conventional term if I choose the other offer, which could still be a 30 to 45 day closing, more like 45 days in today's market. So regardless, I can close in the same time I can with an FHA as I can conventional. I can get $5,000 more for my home. We know sellers want more for their home nowadays, right? So this is a good way for you guys to get an offer in, that breaking down the barrier aspect with your client is number one, the most important part. We got to get them over paying asking price or lower, because 99% of today's market, that's not going to happen. And some of you guys are writing offers. We see them. They're lower than asking price. I get it. Some of them sitting on market, the whole 9 yards, et cetera, et cetera. But the market nowadays is dictating over asking price in most cases. Okay. Don't quote me for every property you need to do an escalation clause, but for most purposes nowadays, for a decent home, priced decent or priced well, or even priced a little bit above where it should be, they are going, and they're going fast, as we know. So the escalation clause is a great way to get in there. That's all you need to do. There's no addendums needed, none of that. Break down that barrier with your client. Get them to realize we're in a market that dictates over ask, and we need to go in at over ask. Okay, this $10,000 under this even at ask nowadays crazily isn't working. Okay, so that's just a little bit about how we can draw in the escalation clause. Super easy, super simple. Again, we want to see proof too. In a normal circumstance, they don't have to show you proof. They could say, hey, we have a higher offer, give us your highest and best, right? The fact is contingent upon a highest and best offer, and viewing that offer protects you and your client, right? Another way to break down that barrier for your client is make them realize that we're going to have an appraisal process, right? So unless it's a cash deal, which you can still do an appraisal, an appraisal could not be, you can word it where it's not contingent upon the appraisal, but your cash buyer can get appraisal just for their knowing. But if your buyer starts getting those, I don't want to overpay, I'm nervous about overpaying, etc., guys, get the offer, get it executed, get your foot in the door, get that deal executed. Remember, we're going to have 7 to 10 or 7 to 15 days during that inspection period to back out for any reasons. If your buyer gets cold feet, if they're not comfortable, or if there are inspection issues, right? So we have that period to back out of the contract if need be. But make them realize that we're going to do an appraisal. An appraisal will be done when it's based on financing, right? So hey, if we're at $220,000, now your buyer starts thinking, hey, I think I might have overpaid for this. Let the appraisal dictate that process too, right? So we don't hope the house appraises at purchase price or even under, which is a well-known thing for buyers. They're hoping it appraises lower so they can get a couple $1,000s off the price of the house. But at the end of the day, they're going to save 20 bucks on their mortgage a month, but they're going to buy a house at value, right? So even if we're at $220,000, we hope this thing appraises at 225 or 230 or 240, right? Because now we got our foot in the door, we got our offer accepted, and we bought a house with equity into it. Okay. Now, if that house doesn't appraise and appraises for 205, we're in a circumstance where, yes, we do have to negotiate the appraisal. We've had some deals fall through because of appraisals. Sellers are saying, hey, I'm going to wait on another deal. We know that FHA appraisals stick for 3 to 4 months. I'm not exactly sure on the time frame. Some lenders are saying 3, some are 4. Lisa can chime in at the comments when we put this on our Facebook group. Conventional don't stick. So if you're a conventional buyer and that's, that home doesn't appraise for your buyer, that seller can say, sorry, we're going to cancel the deal. If your buyer can't come up with the difference in cash, or we can't reduce the price of the house, we're going to cancel the deal. We're going to get another conventional loan, and we may get a different, appraiser that appraises the home at a different price, right? So you may run in that circumstance, but guess what? The escalation clause is good for get your foot in the door. Let's get you guys a contract. Let's get it executed. Let's get your buyers happy. Let's get them ready to go and motivated to buy that home instead of fishing for 18 houses, right? Because at the end of the day, we know when they're writing 3, 4, 5 contracts, they're going to get tired of it. They're going to get beat up. They're going to be beat up buyers, and we don't want that, right? We want them fresh. We want them happy. We want them excited during this process. That customer service is what's going to keep them coming back to you, right? So this is just one way to write in an escalation clause, get your foot in the door, and get that contract accepted, okay? Any questions, you guys know to reach out to us. Any comments regarding this, Sean? I know this was kind of brought up by you. Feel free to comment. Any other agents, comment in the post. Lisa, like I said, if you have any questions or comments regarding the FHA appraisals or regular appraisals, I know we've had some sticky situations lately. These appraisers aren't caught up with the market apparently. Like they're just honestly blatant. A lot of them aren't doing their jobs. They're not accepting certain. So it's a headache. Maybe Lisa can chime in and kind of tell us what we can do to better get ready for an appraisal. If we do have a listing of our own, that's a totally different subject. So I won't dig into that, but it's really what I want to touch base on. So if you guys have any questions at all, give me a shout, give Dee Dee a shout. We're always here for you guys. Go out there, hustle. Let's get some deals done. We want to put money in your bank. We have some exciting news coming out soon. We're ready to, roll out some cool stuff. The portal's coming along well. I'll do an update next week regarding that and the health insurance. We have another meeting regarding the health insurance on, I believe it's Tuesday. Just trying to find out those details and get everything worked out for you guys. We're not going to roll out products that aren't that great for you guys just to get them out to you, right? So we're making sure this stuff works, okay? So hang with me. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Any questions or comments or concerns, hit us up in the comments. Give me a call. Give Dee Dee a call. We're always here for you guys. That's our job, all right? Have a great Friday. Chat with you guys soon.